The author of, creator of Positive Leadership. You were just discussing background noise, guys. You were just discussing the conclusion chapter.
Very good.
Things up, but I'm really gonna just give you the floor to talk and allow them to ask you questions. And yeah, that
sounds great. Well, good afternoon, and congratulations. You all are pretty close to being done with your program and making it through. And if I can say a few nice things about Jennifer, I talk to her every month, well now almost every week for this Talent to Strength class we're doing, but she's extremely passionate about this work and dedicated to you all and making sure each class goes well, and I know she takes it super seriously, and she says so many great things about you, so no pressure on you all today, but she really just has a lot of faith in you all and what you guys are about and what you're going to be doing after this class. And for me, it's just a real honor to speak to you all and just hear any feedback you have on any of the concepts or answer any questions you may have. And, you know, I don't know if you've ever talked to anybody from Oklahoma, but, you know, this is what it looks like. This is what our state looks like. Anyway, so yeah, and this is what I look like, in case you were wondering, like, who is this weirdo I have to read every month or whatever? So yeah, I just want to open the floor and see if you guys have any thoughts, questions, feedback, or anything like that.
Angel, can you see Angel over here?
Yeah. Yep.
I think maybe a question of having success with positive leadership is how often maybe have you found of revisiting, because I think at the end of the chapter it was like, you know, now that once you have these tools, we're so much better at them when we revisit them. Is there kind of a, you know, a suggested timeline to be like, hey, maybe you should review, you know, one of these, you know, 7 tools every month, every quarter, kind of like, because I like the idea of it. Part of me is like just getting so caught up in time. I'm like, if I have to like revisit it every 2 weeks, that may not be feasible. So just if you have seen a suggested timeline to be like, you know, once a person is done graduated with the program, we're all going to go back to our regular lives. What is maybe a suggested route for like, hey, continue to practice these tools?
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for the question. So one of the things I heard is that people who have gone back and reread Positive Leadership, they catch things that they didn't even see in there before, which I kind of like and kind of don't. Like, I wish everything was just obvious and came out right up front. So the first thing is, I do think going back and revisiting it would be good. In terms of how often to do that, I think every day. No, I'm just kidding. I think that what I would suggest is really just identify a concept that you want to incorporate. Just pick one thing at a time that you think would really fit what your need is and something that really resonated for you in terms of how you want to lead, or something you want to incorporate. And just until you feel like you've incorporated that concept into your day-to-day and your normal mindset of how you think, and then go back and maybe go for a next one once you feel like you've got that kind of covered and you feel like you've got that going in your life, then go back and identify something else. Because another thing that I've heard is that maybe 1 month you were reading about one of the capacities, but it didn't resonate with you so much at that time, but maybe someone else in your class, maybe it resonated for that person, but not for you personally. So then maybe go back and revisit one of the capacities. Like for me right now, I could probably use to revisit the resilience capacity personally, you know, and that's what I would need. So that's what I would read up on and maybe try to incorporate more. And then maybe, you know, a couple months from now, I need to really revisit the reason capacity, because I'm avoiding some things that I really need to be engaging with instead of avoiding. So I don't have a specific timeline, but I do love the idea of going back and revisiting it. But I think it's very personal to what might work for you, Angel, like what your need is in that moment. So that's my suggestion. And I don't really have like a specific time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Shelley?
I did enjoy the reading, but I will say for me, I listen to audiobooks and podcasts all the time. To have time to sit and truly traditionally read is very difficult. I feel like my experience, if I could have listened, would have been, I think I could have even gotten more out of it and could have gone back. Do you have plans to do any type of audio of it?
I never thought about that until just now. So, you know, I listen to audiobooks, but I've never really imagined myself, you know, chapter 1, you know, authenticity.
I mean, you do have a great voice, but if you don't want to, you could have somebody else. You could have somebody else do it.
I can hire a voice double. Who would you like to hear? You know, maybe like Sean Connery or.
Yeah, we do. We actually have somebody in our network who is very talented at voice work. I'd be happy to refer her to you.
Yeah, let's do that. I've never, ever thought about that. That was a thought that was never in my head. So thanks, Shelley, for.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what I listen to is about leadership and business. I mean, I listen to a lot of comedy too. I'm not a stick, but like, I just think time-wise, the visuals are great too, and I think you could still say refer to the website for this. You know, how there are some of the diagrams
yeah.
or like self-assessments.
Yeah, anyway. I think that's great because I was going to write a sequel to this book called 50 Shades of Positive Leadership. So I thought maybe we can have a series. All right, Jennifer's like, oh my gosh, Adam, I need to pull the plug on you. I can't bring you anywhere. All right.
Not this group.
To piggyback. To piggyback on what Shelley said, the part of each chapter that I also liked was when we would do our self-assessment. And so to think about taking it to a tech level would be to fill out the self-assessment and somehow, you figure out how to store that. And then after the chapter or after the program, be able to redo those self-assessments to see if there's been growth in my personal styles or skills or areas where it shows up.
That's really great. I love that idea. And even to combine it with Angel's idea of like, maybe once a year, remind you to kind of answer the self-assessment questions. And then it might trigger you to say, oh, let me go back and reread this one chapter or this one capacity, because maybe your scores on that were a little lower than you'd want them to be. So maybe, so I love that idea. You guys are fantastic. I need to have you guys be like my brain trust for what to do with this. Great idea. Thanks.
James.
Hi. Can you talk a little bit about what motivated you to put this all together, put this book together, maybe some background on what led up to it?
Yeah, I love that question. Do you have context in your top 5 themes, by the way, for StrengthsFinder?
I think so, yes.
That'd be amazing if you did. I mean, because it's actually pretty rare for people to have that one. But if you had that one in your top 5, that would be like pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, background. So I used to be a board president for our leadership program, and I'm just watching to see because I see you guys are going to figure out. No, okay, it's probably is number 6. We were looking, I was board president for our version of your leadership program. We have one here in Tulsa, and we looked at different curricula around leadership, and most people talk about leadership as if it's like a position of authority. And a lot of what happens in community leadership is not based on authority. It's based on relationships, and it's based on personal commitment and accountability. So you're a leader because you want to see something happen. And so I've been frustrated in my studies of leadership. I didn't finish. I started a PhD program in leadership. And I just didn't feel like they were addressing what the essence of leadership was. I felt like it was a study of authority instead. So I began thinking about what leadership was and realized that it's very different from what we're taught that it is. that it's not a personal trait that you either are born with or you're not born with. And it's not about being the person at the front of the room and commanding other people to do your bidding, that it happens much more fluidly, and it's much more of a community resource than an individual trait. It's something that that comes into being when we're together, when we're in each other's presence. That's where this idea of social force came from. So that's where this originated. And I'll say something else too, that I think the best leaders are well-developed individuals, that if you have an underdeveloped person in a position where they have authority or they're a leader, it could do great damage. So positive leadership is kind of a Trojan horse. It's packaged as a leadership model, but it really is very much a personal development journey that, to challenge people to really explore their authenticity, who they are authentically, and then to really help identify a purpose, a meaningful purpose that drives you. These certainly relate to leadership, but I also think they make for a more meaningful life. And then to be an advocate, to stand up for those things that you're truly passionate about, that you want other people to also think about and consider. And then to be able to be resilient, because life is so demanding and we have so many things that demand our attention and our energy and resource, that we spread ourselves too thin. And then to build community, we need that to be fully functioning and healthy people. So we need that sense of community, and then reason, this ability to see the world as it really is and not be so distorted by our own views. And we see that so much in our current political climate. And then gratitude is that reminder of really enjoying this journey that we're on, this journey of life, not just leadership, but just, to recognize the great things that you represent, to recognize the contributions that other people give us. So it really is that personal development journey that I wanted to really maximize, because I think a good leader is a good human being, a good person. So yeah, that's kind of what, I don't say that in there, but it is. It's like a Trojan horse, a personal development journey masked inside of leadership. And I appreciate that question, because I never really have get a chance to say that to anybody. It's like my deep down secret is that it's really not a leadership book, although it is, but its purpose is different than that. So thanks, James.
That was really good.
Thank you.
Leadership and have them talk about that. I saw the same thing in my program. It was the lack. It would talk about the characteristics. It would talk about the person up front, but never really address the person underneath.
Mm.
And
very good.
I've seen a lot of undeveloped leaders.
Yeah.
You're right. Bad things happen.
Thank you. Yeah. We got it. Good. Thanks.
So I was getting a little pressure to throw in a comment I made earlier. So maybe you can just squish in. Here she is.
I can see your hand.
Hold on. We were making so we're having the last chapter alignment today. And
Great.
that there are more definitions of alignment that maybe you can throw in there to kind of develop that chapter a little bit more, such as filling in gaps and correcting for discontinuities and maybe linkages between different groups are all involved in the same process.
I got like almost every other word of that, so it was just the audio. Sorry.
I just thought there are some more definitions of alignment besides all moving in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
Filling in gaps or making connections between different steps of the process or organizations and things like that.
Yeah. So just to clarify that for you, that there's more to alignment than what's in the chapter, that it involves filling in connection. Yeah. I mean, right. There's this first, just getting the conversation started about alignment is I'm happy to at least get that going. But if there's some other pieces that you think are missing that would further contribute to creating alignment among people, I agree. I would agree with that. I wouldn't say that what I wrote was all inclusive, and certainly I'd be open to other thoughts and concepts related to it, because I think it's so important, that fundamental thing of alignment. I've been doing organizational consulting work for about 20 years. And whenever you do something for that long, you know, like if somebody's a painter or if somebody does something else, if you do something for that long, you begin to start to see your profession from a distance, where you can start to say, okay, it really comes down to, this is the essence of, for me, an effective organization. Or somebody else would say, this is the essence of painting, or this is the essence of psychology. And so if I were to say what I think the essence of organizational development is, it would be alignment. So it's a really important concept that I don't think gets discussed enough. And even if it gets discussed, it doesn't give it, there's not enough that really teaches us how to bring about alignment. Because I think that's a primary function of a leader, is to help create alignment, not division, and not holding yourself up as the most important person in a group, but rather to bring alignment to a community. And I know that there's misalignment whenever there's drama. You know, for me, I think it's like, I quoted myself up front, which I don't ever do, but it's the perfect kind of way to say it, is the source of all drama is a lack of alignment. Whenever I experience drama, I used to just get sucked into the drama, the emotions that come with drama, and all of the drama that comes with drama and conflict. I would get sucked into it. But over time, and I'm not perfect at this, but over time, I've learned to not surrender to the emotions of drama, but instead to use that feeling of drama, that I call it the vortex of drama, because it just kind of sucks you in like a vacuum cleaner. Instead of surrendering to that, I've been training myself to realize that I'm experiencing misalignment. And that in doing that, I'm able to keep myself in check, keep my emotions in check, and be a problem solver instead of adding fuel to the fire. I've learned that I need to ask questions. Where's this misalignment coming from? And then there's 3 primary places where there could be misalignment. And this is true in a marriage. It's true in a work team. It's true in our political climate. Are we aligned on purpose? Do we have the same why? Is my why and your why the same? The next is outcomes. We may have the same purpose, but we may not have the same outcomes, what it would look like when we fulfill that purpose. And then maybe we do, maybe we're aligned there as well, but maybe we're not aligned in the third area, which are methods. So methods would be the other area. I think we should do it this way. This is my way for how to do it. And you think we should do it this way, and that's your how we should do it. And our hows may be misaligned. So, that's meant to start your thinking. And then if you guys have other ideas to add to it, certainly send me an email, adam@positiveleadership.com, because I'm always wanting to upgrade the materials. adam@positiveleadership.com. So good. Thanks for the question. And sorry for not being able to hear it. I hope I at least addressed a little bit of your comment, and then added more stuff that I just imagined I should say. So.
Any other questions or comments for Adam? No? Quiet? All right.
Well, it was, fantastic to meet you all again. Congratulations. And, hi. No, stay there. I like that. You're not blocking anybody. That's great.
Thanks, Adam. Can you tell us his top 5?
Oh, yes. Can you tell everyone your top themes, your top 5?
Yeah, happy to. So my number 1 is strategic. Do any of you have strategic in your top 5? There you go. Masterminds right there. My number 2 is individualization. Anybody have that one? You do back there? Okay. How about my number 3 is ideation? Anybody have ideation?
You don't mind talking about each of your themes, though? I mean, strategic's pretty clear what is, but could you talk about the others, since sometimes
Sure.
you're good?
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 2, individualization, means that I'm always interested in the uniqueness of the case-by-case individual scenarios. So with people, I want to know what makes that individual unique. I don't like generalizations. I don't like stereotypes. I don't like things like always or never, because everything is individualized and case by case basis. So that's how I think about things. I don't like to do things in mass, like mass produce things. I want to make sure it's customized. I don't want to just buy someone a gift card for a gift. I want to buy them like a meaningful thing that they would find personal and meaningful. So that's how individualization works. That's why I love your questions. Prompts me to think about what are the individual needs that people have. My ideation theme makes me think outside the box, outside the fence line. I'm always looking for what's new and different. So it makes me sometimes, and I'm not going to say other people with ideation are this way, but it makes me a little eccentric, because I don't want to do the common thing. I want to do something original or novel or creative. So a lot of times people will come to a person with ideation and be like, hey, how would you go about doing this? And they'll give you like 5 ideas right off the top of their head. And they're like, gosh, how did you think of all that? And it's like, I've been practicing my whole life. I've been practicing my whole life trying to think of the different way to do things. So, and that's true of any of these themes, any of your top 5 themes, you've been practicing them your whole life. My number 4 is intellection. Anybody have intellection? Well, be glad that you don't, unless you do, but intellection is that quality where I want to think more deeply about things, and I get upset about things that wouldn't upset most people. It happened to me yesterday where somebody canceled a meeting like 5 minutes before the meeting because she was expecting a delivery of some home appliance or something, and the delivery didn't come on time. So she messages me and says, I'm canceling our meeting, which I thought it was extremely rude. So I just thought about it and probably overthought about it. But I was like, here are all the reasons why what you did was not acceptable, and instead of just letting it go and moving on. The other thing about people with intellection is we could be like in a room full of people, but totally unplug. It'd almost be like you just are in your own little space, and you're in your own little mental laboratory. So people will think you're not having fun. So they'll come up to you and say, what's wrong? And I'm like, inside I know nothing's wrong. But enough people ask me what's wrong that it starts to make me feel like something's wrong. But it's like, no, I'm in my head. I have a party going on in here. And you aren't invited. And you just crashed the party because you wanted to talk about something silly like, how about those Patriots? Or today I went to JCPenney and I'm like, I don't care about any. I was solving the mysteries of the universe. And then now I have to make small talk with you. So I see the woman in the back in the white jacket or shirt. Do you have an election?
Steven, do you have an election? Yeah. She's just laughing away back there.
But could you relate to those things?
I don't know if you heard, but she said yes, everything you said.
Okay, yeah. And so I'm making it sound like a bad thing, but it's really good because, too, it allows me to find deeper insights and deeper meaning. And so, it's fun. I always have entertainment going on in here. And also you could see it in the way I wrote this book. And in fact, I think the great question here is that, or the real great aspect of this question is that I wrote positive leadership the only way someone with strategic, individualization, ideation, intellection, and input is my number 5. I wrote the book the way exactly like somebody would who has these themes. So input, I bring in little factoids or little you might have read something in the book where you're like, how does this story relate to what we're going to talk about? And then maybe ultimately, hopefully it does, but it wasn't obvious at first. Or I bring in little references that may not be common and that would be my input theme. I find, useful information or ideas that, and quotes. And that's what input is. Input is about utility. You collect things, you input things into yourself, but what you input are things that you deem to be useful, things that you think have utility to them. As opposed to the learner theme, which looks very similar to input. Learner is about what's new, information that's new, and you soak that information up like a sponge. And I don't have that theme very high. I have the input theme. So I'm really glad that you guys got a chance to explore and get introduced to StrengthsFinder. And some of you may have already taken it before, but most people, when they take StrengthsFinder, like any other assessment, they're like, oh, that's interesting, and then they file it away because they don't know what to do with it. But I love that Jennifer's introducing you guys to the StrengthsFinder in a new way, because there's so much value for how you lead and how you manage yourself and how you become aware of other people with other themes that are different from your own, and how you can learn to manage those relationships. So there's a great connection. It's a great tool for positive leadership. And I probably went on a little too long with that, but you can tell I'm really excited and passionate about StrengthsFinder. So yeah, don't ask me any more questions or I'll really throw your agenda off, which Jennifer and her responsibility theme is not.
That's right. So we're about at time. Does anybody else have any questions for Adam?
What's his last?
What's his last?
Third.
No, he did 5. Yeah, he did 5. Yeah, he's input is 5th.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave it there because I would love to talk to you guys, but I know that you guys have an agenda, and I'm pretty much an agenda breaker. So we'll leave it there. But great to meet y'all. Reach out anytime, Adam@positiveleadership.com, and enjoy the rest of your day. I really am glad to meet y'all, and farewell.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.